The alarm goes off before dawn, slicing through the silence of a tiny apartment that still smells of detergent and burnt coffee. Elena's hands tremble as she ties her hair, her reflection in the cracked mirror showing both weariness and purpose. She moves quietly, not to wake Michael, whose dreams remain untouched by the weight of her mornings. The city outside is half asleep, yet she walks into its chill, clutching a thermos of instant coffee that tastes like survival. Every shift, the hospital corridors, the late-night diner, the weekend janitor job, is another stitch holding their fragile life together. She tells herself it's temporary, that love and effort will build the life they dreamed. But as the first bus hums beneath the orange glow of streetlights, a quiet doubt settles. What if sacrifice alone isn't enough to keep love alive? At the hospital, Elena moves like clockwork, a calm presence in chaos. Her co-workers laugh between rounds, but she barely joins in, counting the minutes until she must rush to her next job. Patients remember her by her gentle voice, yet no one sees the exhaustion behind it. She catches her reflection in a metal door, pale, determined, haunted by longing. In her pocket, her phone vibrates. A message from Michael asking when she'll be home. The thought warms her for a heartbeat before reality returns. She will not be home until dawn. As she helps an elderly patient back into bed, her hands tremble, but her voice stays steady. Love, she thinks, isn't grand gestures or promises. It's showing up, even when no one else does. By afternoon, she's at the diner, apron tied over her scrubs. The scent of fries and grease clings to her hair, her feet aching beneath her. Regulars greet her with half-smiles, unaware of the double life she lives. Between tables, she checks her phone. No new messages. Through the window, she sees Michael walking down the street, guitar case in hand, sunlight tracing the side of his face. For a moment, pride fills her chest. Then he passes without looking in. She swallows hard, forcing a smile for a customer. Somewhere inside, she wonders when he stopped seeing her, or if he ever really did. Night returns before she can breathe. The office hallways are quiet, her cartwheels echoing on marble floors. She moves through empty spaces, wiping fingerprints off glass doors that lead to dreams she'll never live. The city lights outside seem both close and unreachable. In her earbuds, a song plays softly, one of Michael's old demos. His voice cracks in places, but it used to make her feel proud. Now it feels like a memory from another life. She whispers the lyrics under her breath, almost praying that somewhere he's still fighting for their dream too. The night ends the way it began, in silence. Elena returns home, the city finally asleep. The apartment is dark, except for the faint glow of the television. Michael sits on the couch, strumming absent-mindedly, eyes elsewhere. She greets him softly. He nods without looking up. She sets down her bag, studies him for a moment, and feels a weight press against her chest. Love, mixed with fatigue, admiration tainted by loneliness. In that quiet space, she realizes the truth she's too afraid to name. She is building a future for both of them, but he's no longer standing beside her. The air in the apartment grows heavier with silence each day. Elena's words fall into the void, unanswered, while Michael's eyes linger on anything but her. He spends hours scrolling through his phone, posting fragments of songs that no one listens to. She watches him from the kitchen, her hands raw from scrubbing dishes, wondering when admiration turned into distance. Nights blur between exhaustion and disappointment. When she lies beside him, he turns away. When he speaks, it's about the life he deserves. Never the one she's killing herself to provide. The love that once felt infinite now fits in the space between their breaths. At the diner, laughter surrounds Elena, but none of it feels real. Her coworker teases her for always looking tired, and she forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. She stares at a family eating together in the corner booth. 2 parents, 2 kids, A simple scene that aches more than she expects. Her phone buzzes, a message from Michael asking for money for new guitar strings. She exhales, closes her eyes for a second, and transfers the money without reply. Love, she thinks, isn't supposed to hurt like this. But maybe she's confusing love with loyalty. Michael meets his old friends at a bar that smells of whiskey and fading dreams. They talk about gigs and plans that never happened. When they ask about Elena, he shrugs, saying she's always working. Like it's a flaw. Laughter fills the room, masking the unease in his voice. Deep down, he knows she's the only reason the lights stay on. But pride makes honesty impossible. He orders another drink and tells himself he deserves more. The sound of a woman's laugh nearby draws his gaze. A spark he hasn't felt in years flickers, tempting and dangerous. When Michael stumbles home past midnight, Elena is sitting at the kitchen table, sorting bills. Her uniform still smells of grease and bleach. He mumbles something about meeting friends, and she nods, too tired to argue. His hand brushes hers briefly, and she feels the distance like static. The silence between them stretches, filled with everything they don't say. Her sacrifices, his shame, their fading tenderness. For the first time, she doesn't wait for him to join her in bed. She simply turns off the light and whispers a prayer for the strength to keep going. Days later, Elena returns home early after a hospital double shift. The apartment is quiet, Michael gone. On the counter, she finds his guitar missing and a note scrawled on a napkin. Don't wait up. It's not unusual, but tonight it feels different. Like a door has quietly closed inside her. She stands there for a long time, staring at the empty space where his music used to live. Outside, the city hums as if unaware of her heartbreak. She wipes the counter, places the note in a drawer, and whispers to herself, "You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved." Michael spends his mornings at cafes now, saying he's networking. He tells himself he needs inspiration. But really, he's chasing a feeling, something that reminds him he's still worth noticing. Sarah sits across from him, stirring her drink with detached elegance. She laughs at his stories, not because they're funny, but because she enjoys the way he looks when he thinks he matters. He tells her about Elena, how she works too much, how their life feels stuck. He doesn't mention that she's the reason he can sit here at all. Outside, the sun burns brighter than it should, and guilt simmers beneath his smile. Some betrayals don't start with touch. They start with attention. Elena notices the shift in small things. The late replies, the faint smell of perfume she doesn't wear, the way Michael avoids her eyes when he comes home. She tells herself not to imagine the worst. Instead, she cooks his favorite meal, hoping to remind him that love still lives here. When he finally walks in, she greets him with warmth that feels forced. He eats in silence, scrolling on his phone, and she watches the way his fingers hover over a message he never opens in front of her. The ache inside her chest isn't anger. It's mourning for a love still breathing, but no longer alive. Michael's music begins to change. His lyrics grow darker, more self-centered. His melodies less about dreams and more about escape. Sarah listens, nodding as if she understands, telling him he's too good for the life he's living. Her validation feels like oxygen. He starts staying out later, chasing that high. In the reflection of a bar mirror, he catches his own eyes, tired, lost, and wonders if this is what freedom looks like. But then Sarah touches his hand and the thought disappears. Guilt, for now, is something he can drown. Elena walks home through light rain, her umbrella forgotten somewhere between shifts. She stops at a shop window and sees her reflection, tired, drenched, unrecognizable. Inside, couples laugh over coffee, and she feels the sting of invisibility. Her phone buzzes, a message from Michael, short and cold. Working late, don't wait up, she types. Okay, but doesn't send it. Instead, she puts the phone away and looks up at the gray sky. She realizes love shouldn't make you feel small. It should make you seen. It happens quietly. Michael walks Sarah home one night. The city hums softly beneath them, distant traffic echoing like a heartbeat. They stop beneath a street lamp, the world washed in pale gold. She looks at him with that knowing expression, the one that tells him she's not offering love, just escape. When she leans in, he doesn't resist. The kiss feels empty and electric all at once. Far away in a dark apartment, Elena turns over in her sleep, a tear escaping without dream or reason. The soul's instinct whispering what the heart has yet to confirm. The signs are impossible to ignore now. Receipts from bars she's never been to, perfume that lingers in his jacket, his sudden need for privacy. One night, while folding laundry, Elena finds a photograph tucked in his pocket. Sarah's face caught mid-laugh, her hand resting on his arm. For a moment, her breath stops. The world narrows to the sound of the washing machine turning. Relentless and indifferent, she doesn't cry. She just stares, her fingers trembling around the paper, realizing love has become a one-sided devotion. She places the photo on the table and sits in silence, the hum of the dryer masking the quiet sound of her heart breaking. When Michael comes home that night, the apartment is silent, except for the clock ticking on the wall. Elena is sitting at the kitchen table, the photo beside her. He stops when he sees it, and her. No shouting follows, just the unbearable stillness between two people who know it's over, but haven't yet said it aloud. "How long?" she asks quietly. He doesn't answer. His silence is the confession. She nods once, stands and leaves the room without looking back. Sometimes the loudest heartbreak is the one that never raises its voice. She spends that night walking aimlessly through the city. The streets are empty, wind carrying scraps of paper and distant music from bars. Her thoughts loop, memories of laughter, of promises whispered beneath the same city lights now staring down like indifferent stars. Every step feels heavier, yet freeing. Somewhere between sorrow and numbness, she realizes she's not walking away from him. She's walking back to herself. The night air bites, but it's the first time she feels truly awake. Michael returns to an apartment stripped of her presence. Her uniform's gone. The framed photo from their first year missing from the wall. The air feels hollow. He sinks to the floor beside the couch, head in his hands, realizing too late what he's destroyed. Sarah's messages light up his phone, but he can't bring himself to answer. He looks around at the space she built, the one he took for granted, and feels the weight of his own selfishness crush the last of his pride. Elena spends the next morning at the river's edge, the city skyline behind her fading into mist. The photo she found now rests in her hand, edges damp from her grip. She watches the water move, endless and unbothered, and something inside her shifts, pain giving way to clarity. She releases the photo, watching it float downstream until it disappears. For the first time, she doesn't feel the urge to fix, to forgive, to fight. Some endings don't need closure. They just need peace. The first weeks without Elena pass like static for Michael. He moves in with Sarah, trading the cramped apartment for a modern flat that smells of perfume and glass cleaner. But the silence here is worse. There's no warmth in the air, no soft hum of coffee brewing at dawn. Sarah moves through the rooms like a shadow, beautiful, cold, untouchable. He writes songs again, but they sound hollow. Every melody circles back to the sound of Elena's laugh, the one he never really listened to. Regret creeps in slowly, not as punishment, but as truth. Elena moves into a small studio on the city's quieter side. The rent is low, the walls thin, but the air feels her own. She spends her evenings unpacking slowly, one box of memories at a time. Between shifts, she takes long walks, no longer rushing anywhere. There are moments when loneliness seeps in, but even that feels lighter than the heaviness of staying where she wasn't loved. One night, As she looks at herself in the mirror, she smiles. Not because she's healed, but because she finally believes she can. Michael's new songs stop getting likes online. The few gigs he books feel empty. Sarah stops coming to watch. He begins drinking more, staying out later, trying to fill the hollow silence that follows him home. One night after an argument, she tells him she never promised love, only fun. The words land like a slap, sharper because they're true. He laughs bitterly, realizing he traded devotion for distraction. In the quiet that follows, he finally admits to himself. He didn't lose Elena to someone else. He lost her to his own blindness. Elena starts volunteering at a local clinic on her days off. The patients remind her why she chose to care for others, not out of obligation, but compassion. One afternoon, she helps a young mother calm her crying child, and something in her softens. The ache of betrayal doesn't vanish, but it begins to transform. Pain turning into empathy, loss into understanding. She realizes healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about no longer letting it define your worth. Sarah leaves without ceremony. A single note on the kitchen counter, just like Michael once did. He reads it twice, then sets it down, realizing irony has a cruel symmetry. The apartment feels colder now, stripped of even her pretense of affection. For the first time, he doesn't pick up his guitar. He walks to the window and stares out at the endless grid of lights, each one a story moving on without him. Somewhere out there, Elena is living, breathing, maybe even smiling. The thought hurts. And somehow, that hurt feels like the beginning of his punishment. Mornings come differently now. Elena wakes not to alarms, but to light slipping through half-drawn curtains. The world feels slower, almost kind. She starts jogging before work, her breath sensing with the city's heartbeat. At first, every corner reminds her of him, a memory, a place, a ghost. But slowly, those images fade, replaced by small victories. The smell of rain, the taste of coffee she brewed for herself. The quiet pride of surviving what once seemed impossible. She no longer needs to be needed. She simply needs to be. At the clinic, she's offered a promotion. Head nurse for the evening shift. The supervisor tells her she's earned it. For a moment, she's stunned. Then she feels it. Not pride from someone else's approval, but from her own reflection. That night, she celebrates alone at a small cafe, ordering her favorite dessert. She watches people around her. Laughter, conversations, lives intersecting, and feels no envy, only gratitude. Healing, she realizes, isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It happens between breaths. Michael finds himself playing in smaller bars now, half-empty rooms where no one knows his name. His songs sound different. There's no arrogance left, only longing. Between sets, he scrolls through old photos, stopping on one of Elena smiling in their kitchen. He wonders if she ever thinks of him, then hates himself for hoping she does. When the applause comes, it's polite, brief. As he packs up, he realizes this is what rock bottom sounds like. Not silence, but indifference. Elena spends a Sunday morning at a farmer's market. Sunlight painting everything in warmth. She chats with a vendor about fresh flowers, her laughter light and easy. A man nearby, gentle eyes, quiet demeanor, compliments her choice of daisies. They talk for a while, nothing serious, just human. As she walks home carrying the bouquet, she feels a spark of something unfamiliar. Not romance, not dependence, but possibility. Her heart doesn't race. It rests, steady and open. Weeks later, she fills her apartment with small reminders of joy. Books, plants, soft music. The loneliness doesn't vanish, but it no longer hurts. She's learned to love her own company, to find peace in her own silence. Sitting by the window one evening, she writes a letter she'll never send. Thank you for breaking me, because it taught me how to build myself. She folds it carefully, tucks it into a drawer, and smiles. For the first time in years, her reflection feels whole. Years soften even the sharpest memories. Elena's life has become peaceful. Steady shifts at the clinic, mornings with coffee and sunlight, nights filled with quiet laughter shared with new friends. She hasn't thought of Michael in months. Not really. But one evening, walking through downtown after work, she passes a small bar and hears a familiar voice singing from inside. For a moment, time folds back on itself. She hesitates, standing in the doorway, listening. The lyrics are simple. A love song without ego, just regret. She doesn't step in. She doesn't need to. Inside, Michael finishes the song to a modest round of applause. When he looks up, he sees her silhouette fading into the crowd outside. For a moment, he freezes. Unsure if it was real, he rushes to the door, stepping into the cool evening air, but she's already gone. The city hums as if swallowing her ghost. He smiles faintly, not in pain but in understanding. For the first time, he doesn't chase what he's lost. He just stands there, whispering to no one. Thank you. Elena walks home with calm steps, her heart surprisingly light. She doesn't replay the past, she blesses it. Every wound that once bled now feels like a scar she carries with quiet pride. At a red light, she looks at her reflection in a shop window. Strong posture, soft eyes, the grace of a woman who has learned how to stay without losing herself. Somewhere in the distance, she imagines the sound of that song again, carried by the wind, fading, like closure finally earned. Michael packs his guitar after the show, folding up the set list with careful hands. He looks around the empty bar, realizing this small stage has become both punishment and therapy. On his way out, he catches his reflection in the dark window, older, humbler, but at peace. He knows now that real love wasn't what he found with Sarah, or what he lost with Elena. It was what she gave freely, and what he finally learned to understand too late. Some lessons are meant to last longer than the love that taught them. The next morning, the city wakes beneath a clear sky. Elena sits by her window with a cup of tea, sunlight spilling over her face. She opens her notebook and begins to write, not about pain, but about beginnings. Somewhere across town, Michael steps onto a bus heading toward a new gig, carrying only his guitar and quiet acceptance. Life goes on, as it always does. But for both of them, it now moves with peace. Two souls no longer entangled, yet forever marked by the love that once taught them who they were.